What is the best Schengen Visa Calculator? I've been putting all of the well-known ones to the test with a range of dates and examples to find out whether they do exactly what you need them to do, and even more. And I'll be going the extra mile to find the one that's future-proof too. I think you may be surprised at the results. So, which is the best? Stick around and you'll find out. Welcome to YouTooSpain. Let's dance! Hi, I'm Skatz and it's time for the results. In this video I will reveal which is the only Schengen Visa Calculator that does everything you need it to do. Yes, the only one. What a shocker. I thought there'd be more than one too. But before I announce the winner, I need to show you the 3 stringent tests I've been using and how the calculators handled them. I used dates I had sent in by watchers of this channel and they've been double checked for accuracy. Also important to note, I am not being sponsored by anyone for this show, okay? No bias. And at the end of the video, I've gone the extra mile to give you some bonus information to help you even more with travelling in the Schengen area. Here we go then. Test number 1 is about checking when your allowance resets to 90 days. For example, if you've just been to Spain, for example, for 90 days, when can you go back again for another 90? But I'm going to dig deeper than that. I'll also have a look in this test at how the calculators handle a range of non-consecutive past dates to see when you can return and for how long. In my experience, that is going to be very useful to a lot of you. Test number 2 is about checking whether the calculator takes into account any dates you've already booked in the future when you're working out whether you can set off now or soon without jeopardizing those future trips. Why is that so important? Well, let's say you've already booked some tickets in advance but need to go for a few days in between now and then. Could be an emergency or another business trip you weren't expecting. So it's very much a need-to-know test. Some people on social media say it's easy to work out your 180 day travel allowance. You just count backwards 180 days and get your head around the rolling 180 day period. Simple, but test numbers 2 and 3 show you that sometimes you need to look backwards and forwards at the same time. So, test number 3 is the most difficult. It's about checking whether the calculator can handle a much more complicated real-world scenario of a range of trips in both the past and the future and warn you of accidental overstays or whether you're jeopardizing a future visit. So if you're a business person or a homeowner needing to hop in and out of Europe a lot, this is the ultimate test. And you need to be sure it's accurate. Overstaying can result in not only fines but being barred from entering Europe for years, which could be devastating for you. One final question before we begin. How can you be sure the answers given on this test by the calculators are correct or incorrect? Well, the simple calculations I tested against the EU's own calculator, which I'd already tested for accuracy 2 years ago. And the more complex calculations needed for tests numbers 2 and 3 have been checked with a spreadsheet that I'm going to tell you about later. For now, trust me, it's really good maths and it's accurate. Okay, the results are on their way very soon. Here are the apps and online calculators that I've been testing. Number 1, the EU's Short Stay Visa Calculator. Number 2, visa-calculator.com. Number 3, schengenvisainfo.com. Number 4, schengen90.app. Number 5, visaguide.world. Number 6, schengenareacalculator.com. Number 7, the Schengen Simple app. And finally, number 8, 90180.com. Here we go then, test number 1. Let's say you had a trip to Spain from November the 1st, 2023 to January the 29th, 2024. That's 90 days. So you've hit the maximum. When can you return for another 90 days? Well, The correct answer is April the 29th, 2024. 90 days later. Sounds easy enough. But two of the calculators, that's visaguide.world and 90180.com, don't tell you which date you can return. Visa Guide only tells you the last day you can stay. That's very basic. You need to know more than that. And 9180 only tells you how many days you've spent in the Schengen area. So if you want to know anything else, you've got to count forward with your fingers on the calendar. You don't want to be doing that. That's what calculators are for. So, because these two calculators not only failed test number 1, but, spoilers, they also failed tests 2 and 3 as well, I'm going to take them out of the running. No point wasting your time. You need to find out the winner, don't you? Of course you do. So, let's rule out another one then. Why not? It'll make it even quicker. SchengenAreaCalculator.com. This one got the date correct of when you could return, but didn't say how many days you could stay for. And, spoilers, it fails the other two tests as well, so out you go. Now, I also said I'd test a range of past dates, so I used these ones that you can see on the screen now. And I asked each calculator how long you could stay if you went back on the 4th of April 2024. The correct answer, of course, is 23 days, so you could stay until the 26th of April. The EU short stay calculator was spot on. They're doing very well so far, and so they should. It's an official site. Visa-calculator.com got the 23 days right, and also it gives you 3 examples of possible future travel. But there's no way of asking, what if I want to go back on April the 4th? As you can see though, one of the examples was April the 6th. So I'm going to let them through to the next test because I'm feeling kind, and no spoilers this time. SchengenVisaInfo.com also got the 23 days right, but again, no way of checking what the situation is on April the 4th. Not even a suggestion. So they're out of the running. They're dropping like flies. Schengen90.app correctly displays 23 days under each date on the calendar until April the 5th. Then it goes up to 55 days allowance. That's a bit confusing until you click on April the 4th, and then it shows your days ticking down until you reach the 26th. So that does actually work once you know how to do it and read it. Finally, the Schengen Simple app. This is on my phone, so here are all of the screens in the order you'd scroll through, and the final one shows you the 23 days you had and the last exit date of April 26th. So that's correct, and they're going through to the next test. Test number 2. Everything's going to move along a lot quicker from this point on. We're not really very far from finding out the winner, because this is where only one of the calculators works at all. So just a quick reminder of the test. Let's keep it very simple. Let's say you've booked and paid for a big holiday to Spain from April the 1st, 2024 to the 29th of June, 2024. Suddenly, you find out the guys who are doing building work on your house need you on site in Spain on the 28th of April. That's before the time you've booked. So, how many days can you go for without jeopardising the future booked holiday? Well, the eagle-eyed amongst you will have worked out that your booked trip starting on April the 1st is 90 days long. Oh, you fool, you've kind of used up your whole 90 days. But what do the calculators say about going earlier, on February the 28th? Well, we've only got 4 calculators left in the running, and 3 of them don't let you put that earlier date in. So you can't work out how your 28th of February trip affects the one you've booked in April. Some of you might be thinking, well, that's a bit of an obvious example. You've booked 90 days, so obviously you can't go before April without changing your 90-day trip. And my answer to you is yes, this is a very obvious example, but the simple fact is whatever range of future dates I put in and however many days you're going to have used up, 2 of these calculators have no way of inputting control dates in advance, and a third one only shows that you've still got 90 days left on the 28th of February. And try as I might, I couldn't find a way of working out my options on that one without deleting some dates in future and dropping in some more in the past, and it's just too much messing about. Smash that like button, by the way, folks, because there's only one calculator left in the running, and that is the Schengen Simple app. Let's find out how it does. Here's what it shows for February the 28th when I input the dates and save them. It says 0 days allowance left. But look what happens when I click on the 28th. There's a warning message down the bottom of the screen saying no allowance. And then when you click on that message, it takes you to a whole explanation page that tells you more. And it gives you the option when you scroll down to change that future 90 days if you do actually decide to rejig your future dates and go earlier. But that's not all. There's another feature to this app which is so handy. It's called Passport Control. On this page, you're asked to select a control date of the day you're going to be returning finally through Passport Control, which for this simple example is June the 29th. And this screen comes up, which you can show to the border guard to make their job easier. This feature really comes into its own when you do test number 3, which is worth showing you, even though, spoilers, we've already found the winner. Don't forget, there's more information to come at the end that's really helpful, so do stick around. Now, let's put in the following dates as an example and show you how Schengen Simple handles everything you throw at it. There they are. So, you've booked and paid for those dates, and you can't change your tickets, you must be there. And somewhere in the middle of it all, let's say February the 1st, your boss says, get out to Spain immediately, today. How many days allowance do you have without changing your future days? The answer should be 21. And as you can see on this screen, under February the 1st on the calendar, it says 21 days left. Click on February the 1st and it shows you your latest exit day. And as an extra test, see what happens when you try to put in 1 day too many. You get an overstay message like this. It doesn't let you go on. Very helpful. You can scroll forward to after those book dates and see when you can return in case your boss asks you. Finally, let's look at the passport control page and set the control date to your final date of exit on August the 10th, and it shows all of the dates in the past 180 days, everything that border control need to know, and of course they can tally that with their own system. I'm sure they will. So there you go, the winner is quite clearly Schengen Simple. Well done guys, but there's more. Stick around because I got in touch with the developer. First of all, I needed to ask a few questions while I was doing the tests to check the calculations and find out how they managed to build it to deal with both past and future calculations, because my head was exploding trying to work it all out with a calendar. It didn't seem to quite make sense, even though I'm used to doing it. Lots of people have sent me dates and I always check them on the calendar as well as on the apps. Anyway, and that's because when you're not only looking back 180 days, but checking what's going to happen as the rolling 180 days moves forward into days you've allocated, the maths gets a lot more tricky. The developer, George, his name is, was really patient and helpful. He sent me calculations, examples, one of his spreadsheets, and actually many paragraphs of explanations that led to a light bulb moment for me in my not entirely unintelligent mathematical brain. I'm quite clever really, I just prefer to be artistic. In the process, I learnt that George is completely open to improvements. That's very nice. His developers are beta testing the whole thing still. He took on my suggestions for other parts of the app where you can find details about the Schengen area and all of the relevant countries and even more information. One important detail I haven't touched on yet that some of you might have noticed, I did mention this on my previous video. Right at this moment, the app is only available from the Apple Store. However, the Android version is being built and tested as we speak, and George assures me it will be available very soon. They're aiming for late March, early April. So what I'm going to do is invite George onto YouTooSpain live when the Android app is being released, and I'll present him with his virtual award, and you can all then have the chance to ask him questions directly and even give him suggestions for improvements. So that's the big extra news I promised you at the start of this video. You can play your part in making this app exactly what you need. When does that ever happen? Not very often, I'm fairly sure about that. You could even send in suggestions now if you want in the comments on this video, and I'll pass them on. Test the thing yourself. Make it your own. Go wild. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell down there, and you'll be the first to get all of the latest news, updates and opinion on YouTooSpain. What does it cost? Absolutely nothing. It's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win with a cherry on top. So, see you on the next video. Peace and love, peas and fluff. Let's dance.